Hello, and welcome to the inaugural episode of the Comic Shop's Comic Corner. This is Brother Ed, and we're called the Comic Shop, but we really don't talk a whole lot about actual comic books. And since I buy them every week, I thought I would every so often pick out a book or so that's come out recently and just give you a quick review of it. I won't spoil it too much because I don't want to ruin the possibility of you buying the book. But I'll just kind of give you an overview of the story. So let's get into it. So for today's inaugural episode, I have selected two books. I have C3PO #1 and Batman #51. Now we're going to talk about C3PO first. So C3PO #1, written by James Robinson, tells the story of how C3PO got his red arm. So if you've seen The Force Awakens, and according to the numbers, you all have, you will notice he had a red arm. He made a funny little comment about it in the movie, but we didn't know what happened. This is that story. Now, like most Star Wars books, Marvel has put out a series or multiple of covers. I always get the action figure variant cover. Every single Star Wars comic that Marvel's put out in the past couple of years has had an action figure variant for at least #1. The regular series, which is on #19 now, has had, if you count the extra variants in it, like 22 different covers, action figure covers. But I love them. Looks just like the carded action figures from when I was a kid in the 70s. So let's take a quick look at the book. We'll get into the story. Now, the artist is Tony Harris. He did a brilliant job. Art is kind of crisp and not as crisp. It's kind of got some fat lines, but it works great for the story. Here's our splash page, our title page, C3PO, the Phantom Limb. Comment on the episode 1, the Phantom Menace, plus also Phantom Limb Syndrome, which happens if you to some amputees. So this tells the story of 5 droids that crash land on a planet. There are 4 resistance droids and 1 First Order droid who is their prisoner. And this tells their story of after they crash, how they wander across the planet to find another ship that has an available beacon that calls a cat to interrupt the podcast, like happens every week. But to call a ship to come and rescue them. So this, like I said, chronicles their journey. And one by one, the resistance droids slowly get killed off by doing their jobs. There's a construction droid. There's a medical droid. There's like a protector, like a police droid. Eventually it gets down to C3PO and this First Order droid. His name is Omri, O-M-R-I. And when they finally reach the... here you can see this is where C3PO loses his arm. And as they finally reach the end of their journey, it starts to rain. And it's acid rain. And I'm not going to tell you what happens. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. I'm not going to tell you how the arm becomes red or what happens. I'm just going to kind of slowly scroll through here. And as you can see at the end, he has his red arm. This is a great book. Easily a 5 out of 5. Any interest at all in C3PO, how he got the red arm, or just a good Star Wars story, this one works for you. Move on now to Batman #51. Now this also came with a variant cover, but this regular cover is just too darn cool. One of my favorite covers of all time. I would love to see this as a poster. So this is written by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, and this represents the last Batman comic that they will work together on. They've done it since 2011, so 5 years. Solid runs. Every single story has been great. So this chronicles the story of essentially Batman having a night off or a slow night. I'm going to scroll through here, and you can see the Bat Cave there. We have our giant dinosaur, our giant penny, our giant Joker card, everything that's supposed to be there. So what happens here is while he's on his way out to patrol, there's an earthquake. And here the Batmobile has cloaking technology now, so it's trying to decide what to put on there. But he decides just to take it out the way it is. Anyway, so there's an earthquake, and this chronicles Batman being Batman and Gotham being Gotham. It can't just be an earthquake. So this chronicles him going and talking to Commissioner Gordon, and then slowly working through trying to figure out who was behind it all. And he goes to Arkham Asylum. Here you can see all the usual bad guys. Oh, Rebirth. We'll get into that eventually. Okay. He tracks down the Court of Owls to see what they're doing or if they had anything behind it. He then tracks down the Penguin to see if he had anything to do with it. This right here, believe it or not, this is the Joker. He didn't have anything to do with it. Finally, he comes across an old gang member that he once arrested, but he didn't have anything to do with it. He actually has a legitimate job and has turned his life around. I'm not going to spoil the rest of the story, but this it was a great story. If you even, I mean, this doesn't tie into anything. It's a one-shot story. Doesn't relate to the existing storyline that just ended. Is not tying into anything going on. This is just the crown jewel on what has been a fantastic run by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. I give this a 5 out of 5. I'd give it a 6 out of 5. It's just a wonderful, wonderful story. So that is where we sit for the inaugural episode of Comic Corner. Please let us know what you think. If you want to see me review a comic book, let me know what that is. If I get it, I will absolutely do that. Thank you very much for spending some time and listening, and have a great day.